Why, hello there, everyone. This is Bebe Davis, publisher and founder of 1021 Magazine, where we're celebrating 21 years. Thank you so much, Title Squad, for locking in for Mother's Day week tribute. This tribute is going to be so dope. We're at the Redbone Alley, and we thank the Redbone Alley for giving us love and access for Mother's Day 2023. It wasn't easy getting the veranda. So bless your hearts, sugars, everyone at Redbone Alley for the media access for myself and for my mom. Stay tuned for full coverage. You don't want to miss it, everybody. You don't want to miss it. So I love doing tribute because it's wonderful. So lock in. Tribute Historia. It's a beautiful thing. So I give those connections for myself, for my mom, for my abuelas, for my grandmother. My mother, I call her dearest. So lock it.
Redbone Alley.
The Redbone Alley is just a beautiful place to be always. I will not be doing my La Aphrodisiac curated critiques this time because everything was so delicious. But you can look forward to my Aphrodisiac curated critiques. Okay? So here's me and my mother, the redhead, on the veranda. And we have such a good time. It's always a pleasure to come here. So get up close and personal with me and my mother, Dee Red, as we explore some great show and tell moments. All right, so here's another perfect view of me on the veranda. We're going to tribute my good friend Jovita Moore, from a child to a teen to an adult, the beloved anchor of Atlanta, from New York with southern solid roots in South Carolina. We share connections with our grandparents, our mothers, and ourselves. A beautiful spirit. Rest in peace.
Thanks for
Rest
watching.
in love. Rest in power. So make sure you like. And thanks again for locking in. We're going to be talking all childhood vibes. We can't give away all the secrets. Those we take with us. It's just the right thing to do. And as a society, family, both of us, we just know you don't reveal everything. But this is a great, uplifted, personal vibe and a tribute to a wonderful childhood friend and to a wonderful family and to my mother, my abuelas, and everyone. So stay locked in, everybody. Tribute awaits. And come on back for more 1021 Magazine with the models and titles. Hi, everybody. This is Bebe Davis, and welcome to the Mother's Day edition here at 1021 Magazine. We're at the lovely and beautiful porch, the southern porch of Redbone Alley, and I have my mother with me. And this is a special tribute also to a dear family and a dear childhood friend, Jovita Moore, the beloved anchor in Atlanta. But she was ours, and when I say ours, I'm talking about her family, the family friends, the church family. She was ours first in the lovely state of South Carolina, which is where I am right now. She would spend her summers in lovely South Carolina, the Palmetto State, with her grandmother and extended family on the maternal side. And she would spend it with us and cousins and more people. So I thought this would be great for Mother's Day. So we wish her family, the entire family, all the love and all the respect. And we wish them a lot of joyful memories of Jovita as well as everyone who she came in contact with. And I'm going to show you in turn this way. We're going to pan around the beautiful decor of the Redbone Alley. It's beautiful. And then when I step down here, and I'm going to walk up, I'm going to just kind of show you all the how I walk up. And let me just come to this little southern flair. We got the palmettos, and we walk up the steps, and there's Mom over there. So we're going to get started. So yeah, this is the view. This is what they call the porch. And so I'm going to walk it on up and let you all see it. Okay, all right, so we're about to begin the tribute and have good food here. So stay locked in with me, Bebe Davis, publisher and founder of 1021MAGAZINE, for this Mother's Day special and a tribute to a good friend that I called Jovita Moore. All right, happy Mother's Day, everybody, to all the mothers and mother figures. Let's go. So let's get ready for the tribute. Thanks for locking in. Hi everybody, this is Bebe, and we just finished having a lovely, beautiful Mother's Day brunch for Mother's Day weekend. Every day is Mother's Day, you know, every day is Mother's Day. But you know, we love to do the homage and acknowledge and all of that on the set honorary weekend and of the Sunday for Mother's Day. So now that we've had our beautiful southern brunch, and we thank the Redbone Alley for the hospitality, and you know, everybody wants to sit on that porch.
Mi ideea
just to be clear.
of sene.
And Mommy's still with me. Say hello in the background, Mommy.
Hello.
That's my dearest. She's relaxing because it's hot. It is John Blaze hot out here, people. It has risen up to like close to the 90s. So we're relaxing and driving, doing our Mother's Day drive as well. But
Aphrodisiac, curated
the
critiques.
succotash was good. The pork chops were great. The rice was nice and fluffy. It was really, really great. All right, so we're gonna keep talking about the tribute with mothers, our mothers, Jovita, still doing the tribute, and just mothers in general. So we're gonna have a good time riding and enjoying ourselves with some of this beautiful weekend sunshine. All right, as I said, Lady Dora is my maternal grandmother. Lady Alice is Jovita's maternal grandmother. And also what I failed to mention also is that our mothers not only left South Carolina, and one went north and one went south. Jovita's mother, Lady Yvonne, went to New York. Lady Desi, she went to Tampa, Florida with her husband, my father. It's so crazy how things go full circle, but Jovita is of Puerto Rican heritage, and she showed some of that on her social media. And I am of Cuban heritage that I show on my social media. Her father was of Puerto Rican descent, and my father is of Cuban descent. So we had about the same flag ragging and riding and rocking and rolling. But a lot of people, they get those flags mixed up, and it's easy to do. But listen, they are distinctive, okay? Because I'm a rock my Cubana flag, okay? So here it is. I gotta put on these shades because it is so hot here. But red hot in the flag, the red in the front, that's Cubana, Cuban. And the blue in the front is Puerto Rican. Red hot Cubans, baby. That's how you can tell us. That's how I say it. And also, speaking of red, it just so happens that that's my favorite color. I love some red. I love red lipstick. I love a nice red outfit. And that was Jovi's nice color too. Jovi could rock some red. I was like, well, look at that. But yeah, so that's why I decided to wear red today on this beautiful day, because I just love rocking me some red. And I have the perfect shade of red. It's in a blue tube when I was in Charlotte. And it's perfecto. And I've had it for over 20 something years, so I rarely wear that. But I love a nice red, so I got like 2 different red colors on here. I couldn't decide. That's just how women are, so undecisive. But yes, Jovi loved a nice red. She would wear a nice red, really, really nice. And she gave to a lot of associations, and I think that's great with a lot of people. And again, you know, when you come from a family that gave and were a part of many, you know, good societies and good causes, it just is something that you inherit, and then you make your own stance on what you like to make your stance for. You know, I have some friends that do their own special associations that they give to philanthropic and humanitarian. And for me, it is the American Heart Association, which is really close to home for me. And I think heart health is really, really good. We're now starting to see in the news how a lot of people talk about broken hearts and how that is a real thing. Many in the medical professions are now talking about that. But anytime that you feel something isn't right, and even if you feel terrific, we are seeing many numbers of young people suffering from heart attacks and stuff like
Heart
that.
health
So
advocate.
it is very, and celebrities. So it's very, very good to just get that heart health check. I know that I had to get it a few years ago, you know, under a lot of stress. When you're in media and just life, you're under so much stress at times. And so I had to get a heart test done. I never had it done, and it was just great to do it. It was great to know that it was mostly stress, and that my heart test came back with no big super worries. And recently in the news, because I am a voracious reader as well. I mean, I think most media people are. We're voracious readers and writers and thinkers and all of that. Toni Braxton was in the news, and she was going through her health challenges, and she had heart blockage. So I left on the Shade Room a be in the know type thing, and I talked about nitroglycerin spray, that if you have, or if you know someone who has super heart issues, from the strongest to the mildest, see if that is an option for the nitroglycerin spray. It is not offered immediately from a lot of doctors to patients who could possibly benefit from it. Everything will have to be from your physician. But I said that's an option for those people who have heart issues. With the nitroglycerin spray, it is a lot more expensive than the pills, but you shouldn't be running through your nitroglycerin spray. But I feel it's a great alternative to help when you get those first tinges of pain or anything like that. And you can spray up to so many times, and that can be a possibility of you surviving if you have it and you're conscious enough to, you know, use it. So I had a lot of people thank me for that. But yeah, we give to a lot of our good causes. I have a girlfriend that gives to the Lupus Foundation, another one that runs for St. Jude, and I mean, it's a lot of others, but the American Heart Association is very near and dear to me. I do rock red anyway, so I rock red. So yeah, we had that in common with the red and the love of red and all of that. I have other great colors I love too, but there's nothing like a nice red. And speaking of, I got some customs that I saw from Vans for the kicks, you know, your sneakers and everything. And since I rock a lot of red, these are some custom Vans Vans off the walls, and I was just like, oh yeah, well, perfect. Let me grab these because this is right up my alley. Just like me and mother went to a spring tea, and I had my cute little dress on, and then from there I put on my little kicks. You know, you can have dressy kicks, or you can have more sporty type kicks, or somewhere in between, and it just rocked. And the theme was a woman's worth, so I rocked it out because it had the Vans Marvel series for all of the superhero women. Of course, you know, I love me some Wonder Woman. So I rocked that. So we're on theme. We're on theme here. So it did good. When you pay your dues in media, like many of us do, then, you know, by the grace, with our hard work, we get to live our dreams come true, and you can touch a lot of people's lives. And I feel that that's exactly what we do in media, and that's exactly what Jovita did. And it was just so great to see, because you have all those memories coming back of how we were. You know, we were in the company of adults who were pioneers, who did things first, and who did things well, and they were leaders and movers, and they were shakers. So like I said, when you see that before the world touches you, you know, you have a beautiful thing to just keep developing your own self too. And I think it's a beautiful thing. You know, she walked through doors that maybe she didn't even imagine. You can see that on some of her Instagrams about the different public persona figures that she met. You know, it's just a dream come true, because you work so hard for it, and then you become more, surpassed your ancestors' wildest dreams. You go past even your own wildest dreams. And I think that that's important. I remember when I told my mother, she was the only one, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to apply for the Democratic National Convention credentials, and, you know, let's just see how it goes. And it was a lot. It was a lot of vetting to get that, and then the inauguration and all that for President Obama. And after months of just going through whatever they asked for, and you got to imagine, it's thousands upon thousands of people who are wanting these limited, coveted credentials to cover the President of the United States. And our first man of color in these times, President. So when I got my letter, it read, due to an overwhelming amount of interest in covering, da 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 da. You know, it was like one of those letters you read like you didn't get the job. But it said, congratulations, you have been selected to cover. And I just screamed, and I was like, oh my God, I made it. Now listen, I had covered so many well-knowns before that, and being the first woman in the world to create a full-feature digital lifestyle magazine in the world. Now, when they talk about online magazines, there were some that came before me, but they were on a floppy disk, like a disk. But the first online full-feature digital lifestyle magazine was yours truly. So getting those credentials and being the first to do something, it just brings on another vibe. And I cried beautiful tears, and I told my mom, I said, I did it. And when you do it, those who support you and love you, like myself, Jovita, anybody else out there for inspiration for whatever you do, it really is we did it. Because you can't forget about those who paved the way for your education, and I mean just everybody, and it's a we thing. So I loved at the times when I could, you know, because we're busy people, you know, and I could check in and everything. I was like, she's just doing so good. I remember being in Atlanta. I was at home in Atlanta, and I was relaxing. Now this was like when Jovita got to Atlanta, because see, you know, keeping up with Miss Alice, you know, and all of them, Miss Dora, my grandmother, all of them, they talk about their children, their successes. How is your child? How is Benita? How is Jovita? You know, just everything. How's Rozzie? All that. And so the last time I had heard, Jovita was in Tennessee. So I'm sitting, relaxing on the couch, dropping my bags, and then come flying in from someplace. And Babes at the time was cooking. And I went and settled in on the couch, relaxing. And then I always love to turn to the news. I need to know what's going on in the city. And it says, "Good evening, I am Jovita Moore." And I looked up. No, I was in the kitchen bothering him. I was in the kitchen. And I heard it, and when I came, I said, "Jovita Moore." I don't know many people named no Jovita. And I went around there and I started screaming. You thought somebody was murdering somebody in there. He was like, "What's wrong?" I said, "That's my friend." I said, "Jovita." I said, "Oh my God." You know, Jovita didn't cut her hair. It wasn't curly. It was, you know, still beautiful. But it was Jovita. It was Jovita. And I was just like, this is crazy. This is wonderful. You know, so there were times online that we did correspond with one another. You know, we should put the baby pictures up. I was like, oh, I remember that picture where we would come over and it'd be right there in Miss Alice's house. And it was just a joy. In the churches, you know, she got to see a lot of not only Sunday services, not only Vacation Bible School that we all went to, but there was this program that I want to talk about that involved our grandmothers and, of course, Lady Annie and everything. It was the September Bride. The September Bride was a program put on by our church, St. John AMEC Church. And my aunt Mamie, her and of course others on the committee, she brought forth the September Bride. And it was always a joy every year, even growing up as a little girl, all the way from a teenager on up. They would wear their long gowns, taffeta, cashmere, somewhere in between silk satin. And of course, with Lady Alice being the florist, a lot of the corsages came from her floral shop. And my cousin Jessie was the toast mistress. You know how they say toastmaster? I saw on a program where my grandfather was a toastmaster, and she was like the toast mistress of it all. And they would just come down the aisle in their long, beautiful gowns of just like from aqua to green, very pastels, you know, like my hair pastels. And it was just beautiful. And the corsages were all different. Miss Scott, if you got your corsages, and most of the times they came directly from Mrs. Scott's floral shop, Miss Annie, Miss Alice. And they were beautiful. And the program was just beautiful. It was a beautiful fundraising program that raised really good money. And many people from different churches and just different walks of life would come for that Sunday evening, even after being at church, like all day at church. They would come back for the September Bride. And so that was just wonderful, seeing the ladies in their beautiful array of flowing gowns and the corsages. And speaking of, you know, prom has just passed for a lot of the high school children, and I, along with many others before me and some after me, got their corsages from Miss Alice, Lady Alice, because of the floral shop. And they were just so beautiful. And then if there were any other special programs like weddings, even to funerals, and then Mother's Day, she would bring the corsages. Say if you just didn't have any corsages to wear, has service, that's class, that's style, that's a businesswoman. And that's a woman who cares. So for red for Mother's Day, that means your mother is living. You put the corsage or the boutonniere flower on. She would have white if your mother had transitioned. And then sometimes you could have a mix of white and red or pink, but mostly it was white and red. So she was just an intricate part of so many people's lives. And Miss Annie was the same way with the Avon. You know, we used to get the little, my grandmother would order the sachets, and then when Jovita would come down for the summer and we all just enjoying ourselves, Miss Annie would bring over the little sachets that you would just open up and rub on yourself, and oh my goodness, it was just wonderful. You know, we just were very little feminine girls and doing our thing and enjoying ourselves, playing board games. And you know, Jovita would introduce us to some things that she would bring down, and again we would play paper dolls, a little high noon tea. And then my grandparents had a glorious yard that many of the neighborhood kids, we would ride our bicycles, and we had extra bicycles for Jovita to ride. And then we would go get the Chili Willy push-ups. We would go get the long freeze pops. You had Chili Willy freeze pops, you had the push-ups, and then the extra long you had to cross the street and go over there and get those. And I mean, we would just have a ball. Like I said, you had everybody down the street at where my grandparents lived. Everybody had a different kind of tree. My grandparents had the pecan tree, the Chinese apple tree, as I said, the juicy little black cherry tree, not our blackberry tree, the pecan tree, the pomegranates. And then my girlfriend down the street, they had the apples. Then another girlfriend, they had the bullet trees. And then they also had some peach trees. Just really, everybody was just so in sync. One of the neighbors had, the grandfather bought his grandson a pony, and I talk about that on my sports channel, WJ. So WJ wasn't really feeling a pony, but everybody in the neighborhood, so if you came for the summer or if you were there, you got to ride the pony, feed the pony. It was just a lot of people doing their upstarts. And like I said, Miss Annie and Miss Alice, they both were educators. And one thing about all of them, even my Aunt Mamie, when I look at the pictures, and again, I'm gonna just keep the pictures private, you know, for some type of privacy. They all wore those cat glasses. I got these in memory of my Aunt Mamie and my Aunt Alberta and any others who wore the cat glasses. Their glasses were more cat, but this is perfect because it wasn't like super pronounced, but like this is a perfect cat. And their cats in those days were perfect as well. They were perfect cat glasses. And I was like, meow, ladies. So you know, they always wore really nice glasses. They all had very beautiful figurative shapes in their dresses and their hosiery, their jewelry, and again, like their hair was coiffed, you know, and it was the certain elegance and their pearls and all of that. So we didn't have to go anywhere to look for style. We didn't go anywhere to look for grace. We didn't go anywhere for telling it like it is, because, you know, we had some sweet grandmothers, but they could tell it like it is. I know that if we used to get out of order, you know, young kids do sometimes in church, it takes a village. And I know that if you were sitting near Miss Alice, she would pinch us, and you got yourself together. She had a perfect pinch because it hurt so bad. I didn't get a lot of the pinches, but I did get some. And, you know, just pinch you enough to get yourself back in place. And then would do it with such precision because wouldn't even look at you. Just look straight and just pinch. And you as a child, you're like, ow, or whatever, but they still looking at the surface, and then you need to straighten yourself up. And that's just what they did as a village. And I'm very, very proud to have known those ladies. Again, we would play great hopscotch, great jump rope, great board games, great music, dancing and doing our skating and stuff like that. We just had a really good time. And the food, Jovita was well versed in grits with no sugar. You know, some people always say, you know, I'm from up north and I eat sugar in my grits. But this is how I deducted it, because I think Shade Room had a poll on that. And this is what I said. Many people who are born up north, a lot, if you go back to the records, it's the Great Migration from the South. You know, I dated a lot of people that I know, a lot of people, you know, who has their roots in South Carolina, Virginia, Mississippi, you know, Tennessee, I mean, just wherever. And a lot of times down south, there was no sugar, no grits. And these people talking about we had sugar, not grits. The only way that ever happened as a Southerner is if somebody took the bright idea to say this child will not eat the grits this way, put a little sugar in it. Or it could have happened when they got up north, because you wasn't going to put in that full pot of grits no sugar. They tell you to go out there and pick a switch off the tree and come back in and you get your little beating. But most of us couldn't even reach the pot, and if you could, you knew better. So I feel like a lot of that happened when they migrated up north, and to appease the children, they put the sugar, and then from there, it just took on a life of their own, and they liked it that way, and they just kept doing it for their kids. And that's why these young people today talking about grits and sugar. No. But if that's your thing, that's your thing. But I'm telling you, even today, in 98%, I'm not even saying 95, 98% still Southerners, true Southerners, there is no sugar, no grits. We put sugar in cereal, cold cereal, or go get yourself some cream of wheat with the flavors, because they got the sweet flavors of cream of wheat, or go get you some, what's that other thing I eat, mommy? Oatmeal. And why it is true, because you don't see no sweet sugar options, not in no Quaker. It is all savory. It ain't no banana grits, strawberry grits. Now they might come up with that later, but you got my soda. You gonna wipe it off for me? Thank you, my dearest. But there is none, and that's why it is the truth. That is some appeasing somebody with us to help them get through that grits, and then that's when they start putting in. But grits is only more savory. I'm gonna let her sit here. She better know what she's doing. See, people are trying to turn a certain way and they'll look off. And I just don't want nobody to hit my vehicle, you know, because it's very busy out here. So she done moved out. But, Mama, did you ever do sugar and grits? Mama said, no, she never heard of that. She's heard of it, but that didn't happen. That didn't happen in the house at all.
Ketchup
They put ketchup on the side.
on the grits.
Some people put ketchup on the grits, but ketchup is still a savory item. Okay?
When I was a child.
When she was a child, and a lot of people know about that. but not sugar. But it's okay, that's your thing, you do that. But if you ever come to a Southerner's house, just ask for the sugar. They'll throw you the sugar bowl, they'll push it down there. But don't go getting busy in their pots. Just like collard greens. Are you ready? I'm so thirsty. Is it wiped off? Yeah, I'm a little parched, even with the air. Just like greens. I remember this guy opened up a restaurant and he came to Charlotte. And he was saying this is the way that his mother made it, and he wanted to see what I thought. And it was me and my good guy friend, my cousin Kevin, and we went in. Actually, Kevin had introduced me to the place, and I said, "It's too sweet." And he was like, "Yeah, it's too sweet." He said, "Well, this." He got a little offended, but I was like, "If you're coming here, and this is still considered the southern states, whatever, you're gonna have to lessen up the sugar and make it more savory, because it's too sweet. This is like sweet collars. No." We didn't go back, so I don't know if he did it or not. But sugar is used in collards. Like 1 tablespoon, which will not hurt the collards, because you got your savory spices in there, you got your vinegar, and you got your ham hock, and you don't come away with sweet collard greens. You don't come away with sweet rice either. The only time the rice is sweet is if you're doing like a risotto. But a traditional risotto does not have the sweet, but you can go there with that, because I have done it with calypso rice. My calypso rice is sweet, and it has a sweetness to it. And I slice a pineapple down. I gut the pineapple out, scoop out the flesh, put the rice in. It's like a risotto. It has a sweet ting flavor to it, without a doubt. But on top of that is a savory jerk or curry chicken with the savory vegetables. So you're getting that sweet, but the savory is going to overpower that. So that's the only way that I would do it. But other than that, nobody's just sitting there serving you some sweet rice. But if that's something that you want to do, then you do that. Because potato, you do what you want to do. Okay, so we're off. We're off to see the wizard, right? Okay, so yeah, we would play our games. We would skate. We would just have a really, really good time. It was just a wonderful time to be alive, because you had so much wisdom and so much love there from your grandparents and the village of uncles, granduncles, cousins that really shaped our lives. And I know that in an interview that Jovita, she talked about her children having the Southern experience. And you know, for every locale in the South is a different type of experience, but that's wonderful that she wanted it for herself. She was a native New Yorker. She loved her New York, and we love New York too. We love Philly too. You know, that's when people's like, "But you're from the South." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "We used to spend our summers, a lot of it, between Philly and New York." You know, I saw mahogany in New York with my mom. I went with my mom and my cousins, and we went to Chinatown and all that good stuff with Manhattan, and you know, we just was in New York, and we just had a really good time. And then for the Great Migration, those who went up north, they would come home and they would be ready for that good old Southern breakfast. But now listen, no shade, but let me tell you, my aunties, my grand aunties, when we went to New York and they fixed that Southern breakfast, when I came along and before I came along, Mommy, there was no sugar and no grits, was it? No, Mama was shaking her head like, It was Southern how it should be done, grits and all that. And you could appreciate it. This is a wonderful day. A lot of people are opting to do brunches like today, like before Mother's Day Sunday, because a lot of the restaurants are super packed. Some people add in different traditions, and what is so wonderful is when you can gather around the table or remember when, because people's lives are busy now, and you gather around the table and you say prayers and you passing the fixings, and you know, you're just rejoicing and you're just showing love to your mom. I think as time goes on, a lot of us just want to spend the time with our mothers, because we've, through the years, if that's you've bought them so much of everything. You know that as you both age, you want to do a lot more spending time than anything material. But hey, don't get it twisted, y'all better get your mama something. And then you can always just remember fondly, you know, your mothers. You can remember them in a very bittersweet way. I am a believer that life goes on. I've seen enough in my life that I don't push it on anybody, but I've seen enough in my life for my loved ones that have transitioned, that I've felt them in phenomenal ways. So without a doubt, in my beliefs, life does go on, and that we here, I don't think there's no way to ever prepare for a passing of somebody, but should you are open to that and you feel their presence, whether it be in dreams or the awakened state, some way and somehow as time goes on, you get through it. You never get over the loss because you want the physical presence there. That spiritual presence, especially as a person of great faith, if you are of great faith. Look at Mama say, yeah, you better get the amen corners back, ladies and gentlemen. My dearest, it's good enough, and it lets you know that their love is near, and that you too, we all will move over to the spiritual. But how a wonderful blessing it is to know that. That's such grace and mercy, and a testament of our faith. And it's also a testament for a lot of people who don't have faith, but they're beginning to, with the way of digital information and social media, how people tell their accounts. And it gives a lot of people who have had no faith. So I'll leave you with that. We just had a joyful childhood. My mom had a joyful childhood. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And I had a joyful childhood, and as far as I know, because I can't speak for nobody, but as far as I know, when Jovie was here with us, and of course, you know, she showed her pictures in New York with friends and everything, that summer was a ball, because we always tried to be of Southern hospitality, didn't we? And one thing about the mothers, Lady Dora, Lady Mary, my grand aunties, my mother, but especially those aunties and all of the Southern belles, those Southern steel magnolias, all of them, they served tea. Tea is now served, wasn't it, Mama?
Yes.
Cold tea. And we're going to do a little funness before we out of here. Hey, Mama, can you name some brands of teas back then?
Right.
Besides Lipton.
Nesty.
You better. Nesty and brisk.
Just took Lipton away from me.
And wasn't it something, Lipton, or wasn't it something to start with a T?
Oh my God, I don't know. Well, I guess I'll have to go
Maybe
to
I'm
the
thinking,
internet.
maybe I'm thinking Tipton, but it was Lipton.
Yes.
Okay? Forgive my 52-year-old self, Tipton. It could have been something else. Tetley. I knew that it wasn't. Hey, that's God.
God is good.
That's God and that's my angels. Now listen,
Right.
everybody can believe what they want to believe before we up out of here, okay? But I notice, it's just me, because my great grandmother always said the habit's never been told, and I know my angel has worked overtime in these past 52 years. But I find myself thinking, God, of course, you know,
Yes.
Lord, Jesus, the Holy Ghost, all that. But my angel, I have noticed the past 5 years or so,
Yes.
I've been thinking my angel, my guardian angel. Boy, what times we've had. But I notice that when I forget things, because you get older, forget things, right there I get it. Before I get too frustrated. And my angel has been overtime because they know I'm getting older now. So just now when I said, wasn't there a T, a brand T with a brand name with a T? I said, Tipton. You said no. I said, I must be thinking about Lipton. And then then it came, now I didn't hear anything, but it just came in my head. That's how the angels work. Imagine my angels talk to us, man, we'd be, oh, I don't know. But it came and said, Tetley. Hey, that could have been one of the Madeiras, right?
Whosoever God wants to.
Yeah, so there it was, Tetley.
Tetley.
Now there's an oldie but goodie.
Yes.
Well, we really appreciate you all locking in with us. We came from really good stock. Jovita, myself, my mother, Rozzie, and all others. And we all thank God.
And if I could insert this.
Yes, my dearest.
The neighbors in the village.
We won't name the last name.
No.
The neighbors in the village. Yeah, the
That
village.
were of strong faith.
All of them that we haven't named too. Strong faith.
Along with the parents. Helped raise and guided and showed love to the young ones so that their future could be bright.
A lot of sacrifices.
A lot of sacrifices.
A lot of prayers. A lot of praying.
Yes. Manners galore.
And that's good. And a lot of tough love.
Yes.
And when you look back on it, you gotta thank you, God.
All I can say now is thank you
Thank you. Thank you.
to all of them.
The mother figures
Thank you, God.
who were there who didn't have children of their
That's
own.
right.
You know, like myself, you know, I have some of my lovely young ladies and men, and they say auntie or they say mom and all of that, and it really makes me feel good. You know, not all of us are meant to, you know, give birth, but we are here to inspire and empower. And I have done that, and I will continue to keep doing that, you know, through young women who wanted to write for the magazine, and they did, giving them opportunities, right, Mom?
Yes.
And, you know, it's just been my joy. What I was going to say is that we became our ancestors, even the ones that we may not know their names. We became their wildest dreams, not their wildest nightmares.
Yes.
And that is a blessed thing. So So we're gonna enjoy us some great music here. We're gonna be going all over the globe. We're gonna be going from jazz to bluegrass. We love some bluegrass, don't we, Sugar?
Yes, we do, sugar.
Yes, my dearest. And we remember fondly those all over the world, and love to you all. And every day is Mother's Day, but this special day that they have for us, the what would we call it? That little day of honor, that
day of
grand day of honor,
Yes.
of acknowledgement.
Right.
Enjoy it to the fullest.
Enjoy it to the fullest.
And may your days be full of wonder and excitement and peace and love and prosperity and continued blessings. Thank you so much for locking in. We remember Jovita, rest in peace. Remember a lot of people, rest in peace, rest in love, rest in power. And happy Mother's Day to everybody. Thank you so much for locking into this very special moment. And now we go off scene. We go off scene, everybody. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Bye-bye.